contention for that all-important league leadership. Barrow and the Widnes Vikings are two of those sides, and they meet here this evening in what could be a crucial clash at Craven Park. And here is confirmation of just how congested and potentially exciting this Cooperative Championship table is, with the Barrow Raiders, Halifax, the Widnes Vikings and Whitehaven all locked there on 36 points. The Raiders ahead on points difference. Halifax in action this evening against the Sheffield Eagles. Toulouse out of the running as far as making the top 6 goes. Doncaster are out of the running now, deducted 9 points today for going into administration. They are relegated -1, the sad story of a sad season for Doncaster. And there is confirmation of the other important game tonight at the Don Valley Stadium. The Sheffield Eagles, who really are coming with a great run at the moment, against Halifax, who've gone into a bit of a meltdown. That kicks off at 8 o'clock. We'll be bringing you score updates from that game. Well, as for the team news with the Barrow Raiders, late change for them, and Steve Deakin having to make some changes, but they're used to changes here with all the upheaval lately. Deakin coming in, 5 players from Oldham joining his squad. They have Gary Broadbent, though, still at full-back. Andy Ballard, one of the new recruits. Andreas Bauer, Liam Harrison, James Nixon. Jamie Rooney returns, having missed the last game because of flu. And James Coyle, another one of the players who joined the club recently. And in the forwards, Rob Roberts, Andy Ellis, Andy Braychek, Ned Katic, Paul Noon and Zeb Luisi. Roberts, another one of those new recruits. And it's on the bench that the change comes. Chris Young, who had been ever present for the Raiders this season, failed a late fitness test, a very late fitness test. He was out on the pitch warming up until just a few moments ago, had to go back into the dressing rooms. Brett McDermott, not yet fully fit because of a rib problem, comes in on the bench to join Martin Osler, Dave Allen and Danny Hallowell. And the coach in charge for just 2 games, this is third, is Steve Deakin. Now this Widnes Vikings side has undergone plenty of changes as well, certainly since their victory over the Barrow Raiders in the Northern Rail Cup just 3 weeks ago. And a whole clutch of players missing from that victorious side, and notably Penny and Pickersgill, who've been recalled by Warrington now, so they are no longer at Widnes Vikings. Gavin Dodd is at full-back, then it's Paddy Flynn, Tim Hartley, Richard Varkulis, Dean Gaskell, Anthony Thackeray and James Webster. And in the forwards, Jim Gannon, Mark Smith, Michael Ostick, Lee Doran, John Gratian and Lee Patterson. And a really young bench for the Vikings. Ben Kavanagh at 21 years of age is the oldest there, alongside Scott Yates, who's 20, and 2 19-year-olds in Shane Grady and Dave Horton. And the coach is Paul Cullen. Well, another big crowd here at the Barrow Raiders Stadium. And there is the new Barrow coach, Steve Deakin, formerly in charge of Oldham, been out of the game for the last 8 months. Took Oldham to back-to-back grand finals in National League 2. Couldn't just make the jump up, and got the call from Des Johnston, the Barrow Raiders chairman, to come in and take over from Dave Clark. Dave Clark moving sideways. He'd done a good job, but the chairman feeling that they needed an experienced campaigner for this run-in. Talking of experienced campaigners, there is one for this Widnes Vikings side, Mark Smith, but they are short, with all these players missing, Terry, they are short on experience.
Yeah, Duffy, Tomakowi Love, Morrison, Fletcher, a lot of responsibility tonight will go on that man's shoulders in Mark Smith. The Widnes team will be up for it. They need to be really strong in the middle of the park, because this Barrow side are full of confidence. They've scored 138 points in the last 2 games and only conceded 6, so they're on top form and probably the form side in this competition. They've got the best defence in the competition, so it's going to be tough for this Widnes side to break them down.
Barrow have lost only once at home in the Cooperative Championship, and that was by the narrow margin of 2 points, 26-24 to Halifax. Jamie Leahy is the referee this evening, the man in charge of what could be a fiery contest as well, because the opening salvos in the Northern Rail Cup final in Blackpool were fairly fiery as well. And incidentally, Brett McDermott was involved in that, and what do you know, he comes in on the bench, a very late call-up for him, so he'll be fired up. Although, having said that, there are several of the combatants missing from that game. Jim Gannon, though, isn't, so they will be renewing rivalries out there as Broadbent is underneath that kickoff for the Barrow Raiders to take the first hit up for his side.
Well, it took 7 minutes for the forwards to get into each other, and Brett McDermott, that's a pretty brave move. 2 weeks out with broken ribs, he's come back. This is the first opportunity he's got against playing against the Widnes side. He was deeply disappointed in that final that they lost that game.
And Brett McDermott recovering from those rib injuries really quickly, and players like Brett McDermott prove that toughness is in the ability to accept and overcome.
Rooney has gone for a 40-20, Barry, sorry, he's got that 40-20, I think. He has.
Now, last time we saw Rooney up here, the kicking game, the Sky cameras, this is Rooney's game. He turns the big fellas around, he puts it into the corner, and that is a pinpoint kick. Gavin Dodd could not do anything about that. And now Jamie Rooney has the chance to put his teammates in front. He's organising, he's probing, he's trying to get his Barrow teammates off to a real good start.
Well, what a start that is for Rooney. Back in the side, missed the Featherstone game, and here they go on the charge, and Harrison ominously just carving his way through that Widnes Vikings defence. Eventually they get there to drive him back, but he just cantered through at will there. Here is Paul Noon on the charge. Noon close to those posts. His dad Mike will be watching this one in the pub, celebrating his birthday tonight with a few friends watching this one. And Barrow Raiders immediately threatening this Widnes Vikings line from that 40-20. They're out there on the wide side, and they are in, I think, and it's Andreas Bauer who has got the first try of the game, or has he? Video ref
We're on third, it would be forward.
Gareth Hewer
check the grounding there, please,
is going to be asked to check the grounding.
Barrow looking very strong in these opening few plays of the game. Andreas Bauer gets his body angle low. Does he get the ball down? On that angle, it's very difficult to tell. This might tell us a better story. No, that's excellent defence from Widnes there. No try for me, this one.
Michael Ostek was in the tackle. John Grayson come up, looking where that ball was, clamping hold of that ball.
There's no downward pressure here, Tez. Michael Ostek does a great job of sticking his knee in the way of the ball.
And John Grayson clamps that ball for the second effort for Andreas Bauer turning up. But what does the video referee Gareth Hewer have to say?
No try, fourth tackle, elbow.
It's held up, is the verdict, and it's the fifth tackle. Andreas Bauer denied. Gareth Hewer, the video ref, the man on one leg. He's on crutches at the moment because he's broken a bone in his foot, but he doesn't need that to make a decision on that particular try.
Well, that was a real big effort, that, from Ostek and Grayson, but Widnes have got to be alert now. You bet your bottom dollar that Rooney's going to go and put this kick out wide.
It was the fourth tackle, I beg your pardon, so play continues. Rooney, ball out wide to Harrison. Harrison again, and this time there is no doubt about that one. Oh, there is, I beg your pardon.
Knock on, back in centre field, please, Gareth.
And he wants to go back to the play of the ball, is it?
It's in the same tackle, Bill. He's just checking from the offload if the ball actually was knocked forward by the Barrow player.
He hits his knees, I think.
Oh, does he touch it? Does Gary Broadbent touch it? Let's have another look.
You see, it bounces off his knee, he puts his hands out, but it doesn't touch it there, but that's where he touches it.
Back over there, they were bounced about a bit. I didn't get a clear view if it knocked on.
There's the offload. The ball goes into space. Gary Broadbent lets it bobble about. He tries to pick it up. Just watch. It definitely hits his knee the first time. That's the one that they're having a look at. No, I did that as a try.
I think Broadbench showed his experience and just held back there. So denied just a few seconds ago. Waiting for the decision this time.
No try.
And it's no try again. Denied once more. Harrison won't have that one credited to his account.
This comes off his right hand. There now, you can see where he touches it. The ball stops, and that's where he's gone back to that knock-on. Paul Cullen won't be happy. There was 4 men in attendance in that tackle, and the Barrow players still managed to get that ball away. You've got to control the big lads around the middle of the park with the second phase rugby.
There is the Widnes Vikings coach on his first trophy as a club coach with that victory in Blackpool. And his side off the hook there, twice in quick succession. And the Barrow Raiders supporters disappointed with that start.
Wait!
especially after Jamie Rooney had put them in prime position. Jim Gannon getting the boos of the Barrow Raiders supporters.
That is a real good defensive line from Barrow. They're really tight, they're compressed, they're getting off the line so quick. James Webster trying to get the ball out wide, trying to find gap on the outside. They are really up for this game tonight, Barrow.
Little spat between Jamie Rooney and Lee Doran in back play as that was continuing. The kick downfield goes backwards. Andy Ballard couldn't get it at the first attempt. So now Widnes Vikings, having survived that early scare, or double scare, looking to put a bit of pressure on this Barrow Raiders side. Broadbent, whose knock-on led to that second no-try decision. Braychek over the 40-metre line for his side.
And again looking to offload Mark Smith, realised that and clamped the ball.
Here's Ned Katic, missed that Northern Rail Cup final because of suspension. Katic plays the ball. Here's Ellis for Braychek.
Second hit up in that set of 6. Good footwork at the back end of it. Quick play of the ball, giving Rooney plenty of time.
Rooney hoists that one. Dodd comes for it. Out of the shadows, into the sunlight, and ducks under the challenge from Paul Noon, but can't get away from the follow-up.
And that was good play by Gavin Dodd. He was put under all kinds of pressure. There was 4 men in his eye shot looking when he was taking that ball. That's a real brave job at the back of that. It's even braver when you've got to take the ball when you're up against a real defensive line that's really getting off the line so quick. I've never seen Barrow get off the line and try to force the error as much in my life.
There's Dean Gaskell. Gaskell was on the bench against Featherstone last week, in the starting lineup this evening. That's the 5th tackle. And Widnes Vikings just inside the Barrow Raiders half, and Webster, under a bit of pressure from Katic, manages to get the kick in and finds a good touch. They'll be satisfied with that, will the Widnes Vikings.
James Webster just deciding that he'd rather get a little bit of territory. Time to regather the self. Let's just take a breath, lads. Put the ball down, get the ball in the scrum. Have a minute. The opening 5.5 minutes, virtually all been Barrow.
But now the Raiders are deep in their own territory, feeding the scrum. And threatening to continue this scoring spree that they've been on. 138 points in the last couple of games. That's really done wonders for their points difference and has helped them into that top spot in the table.
Speaking to Steve Deakin before the game, he was looking forward to the Widnes pack. He was looking forward to the Widnes threat. He felt that scoring 24 points and only letting 1 in hasn't really taught him much about his players. There's Steve Deakin. He wants to have a look at his team under pressure, see what they're made of.
Rooney, another long kick downfield, and that one will find the dead ball line. And probably quite satisfied with that as well, Jamie Rooney. The Barrow Raiders will look for a mistake now from this Widnes side as Paddy Flynn takes the ball up. Scorer of a memorable hat-trick for the Widnes Vikings on Sky Sports, the first championship game of the season, in fact, as they took Toulouse to the cleaners. Things have changed a bit since then for Toulouse. Still in with a chance of making the top 6.
Good defence from Barrow then. They got leader and behind the advantage line. You're right, Tez, it's very good line speed from Barrow. Just as Rob Roberts gives that penalty away.
First of the game for the high shot.
And there's always going to be a lot of needle in this game going into it. There's Rob Roberts. He caught Michael Ostick high, but you've got to make sure you keep your composure. You can't give away cheap penalties and invite the opposition into your own half.
Strong defence from the Barrow Raiders there. On John Gratian, and Gannon's gone without the ball.
It was a difficult pass to take that. It was a little bit wider than natural for the front rower. Backs that up and gives that penalty away, biting off extra seconds to try to let his teammates get organised.
And the Barrow supporters enjoyed Jim Gannon's discomfort there. He certainly seems to be the villain of the piece this evening as far as they're concerned.
As you mentioned, Bill, let's wait to see what happens when Brett McDermott gets on. And I'll make my point that I was going to make before Jamie Rooney interrupted me.
Here is Rob Roberts again. Had a nomadic career, Roberts. This the 9th club he's been with. Bracek, oh, Bracek took a big hit, but in fact it was the man who dished it out who's come off second best. It's Ostic who's staggering around in back play as the ball goes loose, and Noon will get the try, or will he? It's a hat-trick for Gareth Ewer already. Another video ref decision.
Let's have a look what happens here. Ostic going in for the big shot. He clashes heads with Andy Bracek. And the offload forces that broken field, that scattered defence that gives Noon the chance to get the ball down. Here we have. Is Dave Allen guilty of touching that ball as it goes behind him? Let's have a look. It's Coyle, actually. What do you think, Tez?
I don't think Coyle, so if that's the one that they're looking for, I don't think Coyle touches that ball at all. If it's a clean pickup, I think that could be Barrow's first try.
Is it 3rd time lucky for the Barrow Raiders? Denied twice already. Andreas Bauer a try chalked off. Liam Harrison a try chalked off.
Here you'll see Coyle pushing up into the next hole, but it went over his left shoulder. He didn't touch that ball. And is it Paul Noon who scores against his former club? There's nothing wrong with the grounding.
I think that's a try, Tez. Ellis does well from the offload. He's got great acceleration. Knows where the try line is. The last time we watched him on Sky, the previous time, 2 times before that, I'll get there in the end. This is a try.
It's really hard to tell whether Coyle made contact with that ball, and surely that's a benefit of the doubt decision, perhaps.
Well, there we go. Ellis breaks through. It's 1 minute 45. I don't think Coyle touches that ball at all. It's a clean pickup from Paul Noon. There's nothing wrong with the grounding. Here you see where Ellis breaks through. He attracts the Widnes defenders. The ball goes over Coyle. Noon picks it up cleanly and dives over.
Surely it's a try this time for the Barrow Raiders. It is. And Dad Mike celebrating his birthday this evening will have enjoyed that. I think that was a message for back home. And Paul Noon getting his 2nd try of the season, as eventually the Barrow Raiders get a 4-pointer that counts.
And it was off the back of the mistake, uncharacteristic mistake off Jim Gannon, who then gave away the penalty, led to the field position. This Barrow side are willing to take Widnes on up the middle of the park. They're running really big, they're running strong, they're looking to offload that ball. Michael Ostic went in for the big shot, come off second best, but Paul Noon scored the try.
Rooney with the conversion, which is on target. And the Barrow Raiders are ahead by 6 points to 0. Noon the try scorer, Rooney with the conversion.
We often say in rugby league that it's about your reactions. Just look at Widnes' reactions, look at Barrow's reactions. Broadbent, Ellis, he feeds it on to an intended player. Noon's reaction means he picks that ball up and jams it down.
And you've got to feel sorry for Michael Ostic there. He went in, didn't he, Barry? He put his body on the line, tried to come up with a big shot, a dominating shot on Andy Bracek, but come off second best.
So Barrow Raiders eventually get points on the board. 2 of them from the boot of Jamie Rooney, who, interestingly to see, has got the kicking duties back. And Andy Ballard must be wondering what he's done wrong. He kicked 10 from 11 on his debut against Doncaster last week in that big win. But obviously a not good enough performance, and Rooney has been, well, Rooney back in the side has been restored to goal-kicking duties. Here they come again, Nixon. He is brought down by Tim Hartley.
Liam Harrison proving what a threat he is with the ball again.
Here's Coyle. Oh, Bracek. Gannon went looking for him. Bracek plays the ball and gets up and just has a look to see what it was that collared him. Ball back on the inside. Play on again. If they score here, it'll probably go to the video ref once more. It's on the last tackle. Rooney changing direction, stabs a little kick in, and it's well picked up, well fielded by Lee Patterson, and the danger, just for the moment anyway, goes away for the Widnes Vikings.
Barrow making far too many metres, 80 metres in that set of 6 with the ball. And this is where Jamie Rooney's really dangerous, running at the line, changing the tempo of his run and just dropping it onto his foot. Gavin Dodd, though, was in the right place at the right time.
And Ostick played that ball and is still struggling, I think. He got to his feet and looked very groggy indeed, did the youngster. Here's Dean Gaskell. Little feisty little character Gaskell is.
He's like a rubber ball, Dean Gaskell. He'd rather run into you than round you, and he makes people tackle him.
Ballard, nice footwork from the winger. One of those 5 players who came in with Steve Deakin from the Oldham club. Bauer now, just up to the halfway line, and then he's driven back just a short way in the tackle. Roberts, posse of Widnes players there to greet him, and they're still looking to get over the halfway line here, the Barrow Raiders. Ellis, Rooney back inside to Braycheck. Lively start from the Welsh international Andy Braycheck.
And again, simple plays right up the guts, targeting the same defenders, making them come up with double efforts.
Rooney, and Harrison was looking upfield to see who was waiting for him before he'd taken the pass.
That was a beautiful pass there. Jamie Rooney's speciality. Front door and back door options just a little bit too hard. So spin pass, maybe even a touch forward as well, but great line from Harrison. Good decision. Unfortunately, execution wasn't up.
So another chance goes begging, and that's got to go down as a scoring chance really there.
They've had a couple of scoring chances, Barrow, but Barrow really targeting Mark Smith, and Mark Smith standing up to him. 11 tackles he's already made in the first 13 minutes. So that shows where Barrow want to play this game. They want to play it tight, and Steve Deakin sending down the messages to get at that man. He thinks that Mark Smith could be the difference in this game.
Thackeray, Webster is gobbled up by Harrison and then driven back by Harrison and Katic, but Webster quickly to his feet to play the ball, and Thackeray takes advantage.
Sometimes, Bill, I've said it before, you need to take your licks and play your ball. That's exactly what Webster did then, and Widnes got 10 good metres off the back of it.
And they get a penalty as well. It's good work from the Vikings.
That was the sheer speed in the play of the ball. From this play of the ball, I think it's Michael Ostick who gets up really quick. Barrow don't retreat the full 10 yards. But look at this for defence. The second effort, teamwork, that is desire, that is commitment to drive your opposition back.
But the penalty has put the Widnes Vikings in a good position for the first time in quite some time. Just outside the Barrow Raiders 20, and now inside with Ben Kavanagh. And Kavanagh plays the ball. Smith, Thackeray with Dodd in support, Dodd going for the line himself, and he's over it. And guess what? I think this might be another video ref try. No, it's not, he's given it. And what a great response that is from the Widnes Vikings. Gavin Dodd with the try. Paul Cullen and Mick Cassidy working on alongside him as the conditioner at the Vikings exchange words there. And the Widnes Vikings, they haven't seen much of that Barrow Raiders territory. They took advantage there.
Anthony Thackeray's normally at the heart of everything that goes on, but that is just sheer determination from Gavin Dodd. The penalty from Barrow led them into the field position, but if you take the ball to the line, you stand the defence up, and that's what they've done. James Nixon tried ever so hard to stop Gavin Dodd, but he just had too much strength to ground that ball.
Do you know, I'm not so sure he got that ball down, Gavin Dodd. We'll have another look at it after the kick. Certainly very close to his body, and the Barrow defender made it very difficult for him to get it down.
No hesitation, though, from referee Leahy about that decision. Gavin Dodd, the Irish international, getting his 11th try of the season. And now Tim Hartley with the goal-kicking duties. And looking to level the scores here, which is a pretty unlikely scenario, that given the hammering that Widnes had taken early on. He's missed with the conversion attempt, but 6-4 is the scoreline in favour of the Barrow Raiders. Now then, did he get that ball down, Gavin Dodd? Let's have a look.
We'll just have another look at this. Just watch the ball. I don't think he's got it down. I might be wrong. You can see the second effort from Gavin Dodd. He perhaps realises he didn't get it down. Let's have a look from this one.
Oh, he did, Barry.
You're so negative, Barry.
I think, to be fair, there was an element of doubt there.
And
well, there was no doubt by Jamie Leahy, was there?
And we've gone to the video referee a couple of times already. Anyway, let's move on.
Oh, almost a horrible mix-up from the restart, and then it ends up with Gavin Dodd making good yards. Well, ahead of him, his teammates were flapping and flailing at that ball. It bounced into his hands, and Widnes have a bit of a spring in their step now after that try.
He's a great kicker of the ball. Jamie Rooney from the kick-off had the Widnes defence in all kinds of trouble. Most teams will defend and put players along the perimeters of their half and not too much in the middle, and that's where Jamie Rooney kicked it.
There's Ben Kavanagh just inside the Barrow Raiders half, and Mark Smith now, and Smith, good darting run up the middle from the Vikings captain. That's the fifth tackle. Webster just had a quick look to see what was up ahead of him. It's Thackeray who eventually puts the kick in, and Broadbent pouching that one.
And if you talk to any rugby league coach, it's always about building pressure. You know, people talk about getting into the arm wrestling. It's like a chess game. All you've got to do, you've got to kick the ball into the corner, challenge the opposition to bring it back, and you've got to make sure that your defence is really, really strong.
Widnes not in the best of shape at the moment, haven't been since that Northern Rail Cup final victory. In fact, they've lost 2 of their last 4 games. While Barrow have won emphatically their last 2. And a lot of people looking at the 2 lineups this evening, anticipating another victory for the Barrow Raiders. Well, a long way to go here, but Widnes certainly giving as good as they're getting, and that kick is taken by Gaskell. He'll have to run the ball back.
The kick chase was good. Unfortunately, they couldn't make the tackle. Gaskell, as he does week in, week out, breaks that first defender. Always beats the first man, Dean Gaskell.
We saw Michael Ostick struggle. Oh, and then a penalty goes against Widnes for an incorrect play the ball. Well, trying to get the ball out of your own territory, that's a real clanger to come up with. Gavin Dodd it was.
He said that Gavin Dodd, the try scorer, didn't touch the ball with his foot. This will be interesting. Will they go for the 2 points?
Did he make enough of an effort for Tez? I'm looking at it and I'm seeing a reaction in his leg. I'm seeing it definitely move backwards. Let's have a look. You can't see from
because
that
of Luisi, can you?
You can't see from that angle, but my first reaction was I thought that he'd done enough and made enough of an effort. Just watch Paul Cullen's face.
Go on the go, moving on the go. Listen for that.
Couldn't gauge his reaction from that shot, but no doubt he'll have been very annoyed that all the good work they've done has just been undone by that.
And to be fair,
a bit of sloppiness.
To be fair, 90% of players in rugby league don't touch the ball with the foot. As long as you make sure that you're putting the ball down and you're making a play as though you're trying to go through with it. I think it might have been a bit harsh on the try scorer, Gavin Dodd, but
stand still, Mark, wait.
Big Brett McDermott.
So Rooney with this penalty attempt just to extend the Barrow Raiders lead, which he does. They're ahead by 8 points to 4. Widnes have got another problem because we saw Michael Ostick staggering around a while ago. I think that is the concern for them. Here's Ben Pro.
Full head clash between Michael Ostick and Andy Braycheck earlier. Ostick straight down the tunnel for some treatment from the Widnes medical staff. The doctor addressing a wound. He's got a cut left eye. They don't think it's going to need stitches at this stage, and Michael Ostick should return relatively quickly.
So Barrow Raiders ahead by 8 points to 4 after that penalty from Rooney.
So Brett McDermott is on the pitch now. Jim Gannon is on the pitch. Will we see round 2 between those players? And I was going to make the point about Brett McDermott. He proves you can be tough by what you can take, not what you can give out, what you can take. Playing this game with a very painful rib injury.
And immediately the targets. And Jim Gannon is in there, and they get the penalty.
And Brett McDermott turns straight around, had a few words with Jim Gannon. He will not shirk it. 2 weeks out with the broken ribs. Straight, give me that ball, I'm going straight at the heart of Widnes. He's big, he's tough, Big Brett.
Here we go. When I call move, you've got to move. Go.
So the penalty takes Barrow Raiders into and then Osler tried to give the pass to McDermott. McDermott wasn't on the same wavelength. Certainly wasn't anticipating that pass, and the two players just on the field for the Barrow Raiders not really communicating there.
We saw Osler in the final enthuse all his teammates with a big barging run. But unfortunately, Brett McDermott couldn't get his hands to that ball.
So the Widnes Vikings have possession. Here's Gavin Dodd, their try scorer. Tackled on the 40-metre line in his own half. Ellis with the tackle. Smith. Here's Lee Patterson, who's back in favour in the Vikings camp. Had to wait his turn, but these absentees and players leaving have given the Scottish international an opportunity. Gaskell plays the ball. Thackeray. Lee Duran comes back across the field, runs into the defence, and he's lost that ball in the tackle.
Dave Allen, a fantastic player, former Widnes player, of course, just gets hold of Lee Duran here, woof, and just uses his own momentum to force him to the floor, and Lee Duran can't keep hold of the ball. Is there an arm in here? Whoa, possibly. Another one that has to go to confession on Sunday.
So plenty of errors early on here. Rooney has gone for another 40-20. Nixon is chasing this. It's a race between Nixon and Flynn has got it. Just.
He done well there to pickpocket Nixon. That would have been a race. Probably the two fastest men on this pitch.
Well, talking of fastest men, Nixon, I think, has been invited to take part in this Rugby League's fastest man race. August the 26th, I think it is, at Headingley. And Nixon might well be involved there. I think Kevin Penny, another one of the speedsters. Well, we saw plenty of speed there. Here's some speed from Big Johnny Gratian. Gratian is tackled. Webster's pass. End-to-end stuff at the moment here, and Kavanagh skips aside the first tackle from Ned Katic. It's the fifth tackle, in fact. Webster, Thackeray now. Thackeray kick over the top. And Flynn, having chased up one end, not so enthusiastic about chasing down the other end. It's Grady as well who gets there first.
Thackeray was just trying to put it in the pocket, in the corner, to force Barrow to come away from their own corner line. It's amazing how the rugby league ball bounces away, and sometimes it can just be 6 inches too long.
Andy Ballard involved there, coming off his wing to get into the action. He's been a bit isolated over on that far side. Here is McDermott now, Gannon there to greet him.
And again, a big shot from Jim Gannon.
They're like two magnets, aren't they? And they will be for the next 67 minutes. 7 minutes, thanks for that.
I just thought I'd help you out there, buddy.
Those two, of course, sin-binned in the Northern Rail Cup final for their altercation. Here is Katic. Katic trying to get himself free from the grip of Paddy Flynn. Can't do so.
He should have given that ball Ned Katic then.
Rooney will hoist this one over towards Gaskell's wing. Ballard closing in on him. Gaskell solid as a rock underneath that one.
Outstanding take then from Dean Gaskell. He knew that there were players coming up. He could hear the footprints. Didn't even leave the ground and jump up, just caught it cool as a cucumber.
Release. Go.
Varkulis plays the ball. Here is the former Harlequins man, John Gratian.
Go.
And now Gaskell, another darting run from him.
Move, get here and hold.
Ellis with the tackle. And not square is the call from the referee. Ellis pleading his innocence, but Jamie Leahy calling him out.
And that's clever play by Mark Smith. He looks up, he sees Ellis isn't squared at the play of the ball. Dean Gaskell got to his feet, played the ball correctly, and Mark Smith just had a little look. Probably sneaked that penalty for his side.
Hold it here.
But clever play. There is absolutely nothing in this game. Barrow are taking it to him really hard. Probably what Widnes need is some of the players pushing up in support. They haven't got enough options. Every time Barrow seem to have the ball, they have options inside and outside.
Jimmy! Move!
Widnes on the attack now with Dave Horton, this youngster from Wigan who's on the bench. Well, he's come off the bench now, involved there, and Thackeray now takes the tackle. And Widnes in a promising position here. Smith. Webster for Gratian. Gratian was looking to get the pass away, couldn't do so. He's tackled.
Two of them. Go.
by Luisi. They go down the short side. Gaskell in at the corner. He couldn't get there.
20.
Great goal line defence. Dean Gaskell saw the line at his mercy. Lovely pass from Lee Duran. He knows he needs to take the impact, but Ballard just jolts that ball away. A face pass to the winger in space. Great work from Ballard.
Wait.
We've got 53 and a bit minutes left, Tez, not 60 odd.
But you're obviously applying the time difference.
No, I'd run out of fingers, Bill, and I relied on my mate, and he let me down as he done all my life.
Penalty.
Wait.
Offside against the Widnes Vikings.
When things start going against you and you're frustrated from not scoring that try at the other end, you've really got to keep your emotions intact. You've got to defend that next set of 6. You've got to, and that's what Paul Cullen will be sending out. Just keep your composure, calm down, defend your set to 6, and just get the ball and complete your sets.
Okay. Between the lines.
Barrow Raiders now from the penalty. Looking to put pressure on this Widnes Vikings defence. Here is McDermott. Legs driving, takes his side to within a couple of metres of that Widnes Vikings line. Lee Duran appealing that there was a knock on there. Coyle now. Here is Rooney. Rooney trying to take them on his own. Good defence. Oh, and Harrison's gone without it. And they were almost away there. Katic went in high. But good work from Flynn.
Another missed opportunity. What a hit. Great work. Just look at this pass. Harrison, who's getting a lot of attention. He plays on that left and he is a genuine threat. His hands have let him down on 2 occasions and he could have been in for 3 tries.
So will Barrow Raiders rue these missed opportunities? 2 disallowed by the video ref. Another couple of opportunities scorned. Only 4 points between the 2 sides as we approach the half-hour mark here. 2 of the 4 sides level on 36 points at the top of the Cooperative Championship with just a few rounds to go. In the case of the Widnes Vikings, just 1 more game after this one, and that against Whitehaven, Paul Cullen's former club, of course, at home. Whereas Barrow Raiders have 3 games to go after this.
And again, they're really testing Nixon, aren't they? Whether or not they're trying to take some energy out of the big Liam Harrison, the centre, who's got the ball now. Trying to kick the ball over the back of him, make him retreat, get him to go back, bring it back. He has got some genuine pace, James Nixon.
I think they would rather kick to him and deal with him in the numbers than have him out in the open. And they make Liam Harrison come out from dummy half knowing that there'll be a set, structured line in front of him.
Rooney again thumps the ball straight downfield. Sheffield against Halifax just getting underway at the Don Valley Stadium, and we'll be bringing you score updates from that game for as long as we're on air. Of course, that's likely to finish, well, it will finish after we've finished, but those score updates will still be available on Sky Sports News and, of course, on skysports.com. Second attempt at the tap on the 20.
Go!
And Paddy Flynn possibly not that enthused about making that attempt to the reception he got, but he's back up on his feet. Smith goes without a boot.
And young Dave Horton's added a lot since he's come off the bench.
Go!
Just 19 years of age, Dave Horton, young prop. Oh, Gratian got clouted there, felt that one.
Go! Lee Dawn coming again!
Webster. Here's Thackeray now. Shane Grady.
5! Move, Martin!
On the last, and Thackeray, little chip kick over the top. Hartley is chasing it. Nixon back there. Coolly passes it back to Broadbent. Broadbent trying to use the referee as a foil.
Well dealt with from Nixon there. Always got his back to the play. Doesn't know what's in front of him. Sometimes it's a worry for players to turn round. Just tips it on to Gary Broadbent. Good communication between winger and fullback on that occasion.
Go!
Ballard plays the ball. Up to the half-hour mark as Osler goes to ground.
Go!
Now Ellis. Ellis used Rooney as a dummy, then gets the ball away to Katic. Katic was looking for Harrison support, but was tackled by Thackeray, but quick play the ball. Now here is Liam Harrison again. Harrison chips over the top. Nixon will chase, but it's too strong for him, and Dodd is allowed to let that ball run dead.
Just a touch too strong, but Barrow are building with confidence, getting their arms free. They're playing the ball really quick. Jamie Rooney is directing his troops. They're targeting Anthony Thackeray. Every time Jamie Rooney gets hold of the ball, or the Barrow players get the ball, he's telling them to get to the left-hand side, which is Widnes' right.
Move, Jamie!
Flynn again.
Wait, go!
He's a game customer, taking that first hit up for his side, and then Shane Grady and Katic gave him a bit of treatment. Harrison there as well.
I'm a big fan of the old winger in. Give them something to do.
Gaskell, American football pass out wide to Varkulis.
3, move! Go.
And Webster thought about going down the short side, looked to the referee for some support there.
Move!
Appealing for the offside. Didn't think the markers were square or set.
Lee Duran across the field. That's the 5th tackle. Widnes going sideways really in this set of 6. Thackeray straight up the middle of the field into the arms of Gary Broadbent, whose professional career began at the Widnes club way back in 1994. There he is, still going strong. Combines playing here with his job in the nuclear industry up the coast.
Wait!
He's safe as ours. He's a real workhorse and Trojan, Gary Broadbent.
3, move! Get here!
Barrow slightly changed the tactics a little bit. In the opening 20 minutes, they were getting a little bit wider. They seem to be hitting the ruck and then coming out wide.
Katic finds Harrison. Harrison for Nixon, but Nixon did well to stay on the field there. He won't do so at this attempt. He does get the ball in field. Great work from Nixon, and then Coyle away from the first attempt. Here is Osler. Good work from Osler. Ellis looking to keep it moving, couldn't do so. But how well did Nixon do and Ned Katic do to keep that ball alive? Luisi's pass, that's touched by a Widnes' hand.
Grayson knock on there.
You've knocked off.
Grayson with his big long levers couldn't bend down far enough or quick enough. He's a big tall thing, big 6 foot and a million player, very explosive, very quick. They're playing instinctive, hot potato rugby here. And Grayson just fumbles that ball.
But credit Nixon here, look at the strength. Does he get the ball away? Great work, that's good play by the winger.
That's not just athletic, it was balletic from James Nixon. He was right up on his tippy toes then.
We talk about staying on the island. If you can't, make sure the ball does.
These much maligned wingers do have certain attributes, Barry. Here's an attribute. A pass from Rooney that's touched again by a Widnes' hand. And I think that'll be head and feet again to the Barrow Raiders, it will.
But again, it's the second phase rugby that's causing Widnes a lot of problems. You can see Rooney takes the ball, it comes off Paddy Flynn's hand and then goes into touch. That's why Barrow have got the feet. But they've really got to clamp up on this ball. They look very big and very strong, and they're playing very direct, our Barrow.
It's Liam Harrison, the number 4 for Barrow. The biggest threat for me is going in the pack here.
Here is Rooney for Luisi now. Sebastian Lucky Luisi dumped to the ground there.
Go, Gavin Dodd! Gavin Dodd!
Back in field.
You're not square.
Now here's Braychek. The Widnes defence managing to keep them at bay at the moment. But how long can they hold out here? Ellis organising things. Here is Coyle. Coyle stepping his way through, reaching out. He's just short, I think. The referee tells him to play on. Coyle right underneath those posts. Ellis gets the ball away and it's snaffled. What great work that was from Gavin Dodd.
Well done, Widnes. Well done, Widnes on goal line D there. James Coyle took that ball to the line. He had the inside option. That's his pet play. Lots of these Widnes players will have played with him in his time at the club. After this play the ball, Gavin Dodd just gets up and just nicks the washing off the line of Barrow.
Gaskell had Katic all over his head there and didn't think very much of the attention he was getting. Some big hits going on out there. And Widnes struggling to make territory here. Needs to be a good kick from Webster. Immediately he's closed down. Chance down by Katic. Nobody knew where it was. Katic, oh, he couldn't take it. Rooney palmed it back. Referee says play on. Gavin Dodd will do just that. Can he link up with one of the speedsters? He can't, because Osler gets the tackle in. If he could have got the pass out here to Hartley or to Flynn, there was an opportunity for a breakaway there. But he did well there, Gavin Dodd. That's twice to the rescue of the side.
Great transition again from Widnes. Gavin Dodd on both occasions, turning defence into attack.
Shot the line. Called it to hold.
And Barrow just penalised. They've not got back on side in time. Mark Smith wants to get on with it quick.
Ready?
Here's the charge down now. Let's have a look at the sequence of events.
Line, guys.
I think Jamie Rooney asking whether Gavin Dodd knocked that ball forward. Nevertheless, play goes on. Widnes on the attack.
And they're only 10 metres now from the Barrow Raiders line, having been threatened at the other end of the field. They are now doing the threatening. Here is Varkulis, a threatening figure when he gets motoring. Doesn't have a chance to there really, because Ellis brings him down, but Smith pops the ball up for Kavanagh. Kavanagh reversing towards the try line is held up by the Barrow Raiders defence. Dave Allen and Gary Broadbent in there. Here is Webster now. Webster for Dodd. Dodd, scorer of the Widnes Vikings try in this first half, but nowhere for him to go that time. Hartley now. Webster on the charge, and it's with Dave Horton, this young prop forward. Horton plays the ball. Gratian, can he use his length and strength to reach out, but he can't, and the kick is a poor one in the end.
Gratian just offloaded the ball, and Widnes still managed to get the kick in, and the kick actually nutmegged Zeb Luisi when it went through. But luckily for Barrow, there was somebody there to pick it up. Offload, a hurried kick, nutmegs, away we go, Gary Broadbent.
Well, Sheffield ahead after 9 minutes at the Don Valley Stadium against Halifax. 4-0 the scoreline there. That's another one of these crucial games at the top. Oh, Katic has lost that ball.
Knock on. No,
yeah, it's
furious with himself, and
this is what lets Ned Katic down. No matter if you make mistakes, you've got to keep your discipline. He really does love the game. He gets really angry when he makes mistakes.
He gets angry with
show your frustration.
He gets angry with officials as well, and that cost him a 2-game ban just recently.
He's angry with the ball.
He's angry with the ball. He knocked that ball out, knocked its lights out.
Experienced player, former Roosters man. Castleford and Wakefield as well, but just coming up with the knock-on there, which has given the Widnes Vikings great position just before half-time to perhaps take an unlikely lead here. Just the 4 points separating the two sides as Varkulis takes it forward.
And Widnes have really come to play. They've shown that even without the players that they've got missing, some of the big key players, some of the youngsters like Horton, he's made a real big impact since he's come off the bench.
Horton plays the ball. It's only his second appearance for the club. Webster, Kavanagh, Mark Smith, and Smith will fancy his chances. And this time it's the Oldham defence doing well. The Barrow Raiders defence doing well to Oldham. To hold down the player. As Thackeray puts a little kick in, it's a great one, but Gratian just couldn't get there. There's so many Oldham players out there, that's my defence. Ex-Oldham players, Gratian not one of them.
And the more this game goes on, the more confidence Widnes will get from keeping Barrow. Barrow will be starting to get really frustrating, seeing that Towakowilov's not playing Duffy, Morrison, Fletcher. But as with the youngsters, you get enthusiasm. And off the bench, you asked about Shane Grady, Scott Yates. You can see the frustration there in Steve Deacon's face.
Allen, Dave Allen over the halfway line. Clock ticking down here at the Mark Coward Stadium at Craven Park, with the Barrow Raiders just in front. But this turning out to be a lot tougher than some people anticipated. Last action of the half, and the pass is a wild one, and Nixon, well, that kick just goes straight up in the air, and Ellis is underneath it.
Offside.
And he was offside, and it's still not the last action. Now then, what do the Widnes Vikings go for here?
What are you doing, touch?
Go for touch.
They go for touch, a bit of field position.
Well, there you go, there's the instructions from the coach.
Try and get as much distance on this, James Webster. They've got one more play now. Will it go high in the air? Will it go wide?
One play,
Whatever happens, if it goes wide, they've got to have options
Try line.
and support runners running in support of the ball carrier.
So still, even though the hoot has sounded, last opportunity for the Widnes Vikings as Thackeray hoists that ball. Gaskell is underneath it, and it's Ballard who gets it. And that is the last action of the first half. Ballard diffusing the danger for the Barrow Raiders side, who leave the field ahead by 8 points to 4. Looking for their third win of the season against this Widnes Viking side, having beaten them in the Northern Rail qualifying and earlier on in the season in the championship, losing of course to them in the Northern Rail Cup final. But this one, a crucial game as far as who takes top spot in the cooperative championship table.